Alex Carter had always felt a strong connection to technology. From a young age, he found himself fascinated by the way the world was evolving through innovation. As a mid-level employee at TechX Solutions, a company in the same industry as SpaceX and Tesla, Alex had managed to carve out a respectable career for himself. He was part of a team that worked on developing cutting-edge software solutions for the aerospace and automotive sectors. But even though he was good at what he did, something felt missing. He had always dreamed of doing more, creating something revolutionary, something that could truly change the world. But here he was, in a predictable office routine, feeling like his potential was just being wasted. His admiration for Elon Musk had played a major role in shaping his ideals. Musk wasn't just an entrepreneur to Alex. He was a visionary who had redefined the way people thought about the future. Elon's ability to think outside the box and push the limits of what was possible inspired Alex, and he had been an outspoken advocate for Musk's companies for years, both at work and on social media. Whether it was the ambitious Mars mission, the revolutionary electric cars, or the innovative way Tesla tackled renewable energy, Alex believed Musk was on the right path. It seemed like every decision Musk made had a ripple effect that changed industries and minds alike. But recently, something had shifted at TechX Solutions. The company had made a controversial decision to sever ties with Musk's companies, citing strategic reasons and the growing risks associated with Musk's unpredictable nature. Alex had never imagined he'd find himself in a company that would so easily turn their back on a man he believed was shaping the future. It created a rift in the office. Some employees were relieved, seeing Musk's ideas as too risky, while others, like Alex, felt conflicted but still believed in the power of Musk's vision. This division left Alex at a crossroads. Was he supposed to stay quiet and accept the company's new stance, or should he continue to defend Musk's work? One evening, Alex sat in front of his computer, his fingers hovering over the keyboard. His mind raced with conflicting thoughts. He had always believed in standing up for what was right, and he felt that Musk's work was vital for the progress of humanity. He couldn't just ignore it. He had to say something. Without thinking twice, Alex typed out a passionate post on his social media, defending Elon Musk and his companies against the growing criticism from those within his industry. He shared his thoughts on how Musk's risk-taking was what made him a pioneer, and that the future needed visionaries, not cautious corporate minds. The post went viral within hours. Alex's words resonated with many, and the debate sparked intense discussions online. But what he didn't anticipate was how much it would stir things up at TechX Solutions. His colleagues began to take sides, and the company's executives were quick to act. They viewed Alex's post as a threat to the company's image, worried that it would reflect poorly on their professionalism and alienate potential clients. The decision was swift. Alex was fired for insubordination and breaching professional conduct. The harshness of their reaction shocked him. He had acted out of personal conviction, not to cause trouble, but to defend what he believed in. Yet it seemed like his idealism was a risk the company couldn't afford. The news hit Alex like a punch to the stomach. Fired. It was as if the floor had dropped from beneath him. He sat in his now empty cubicle, his thoughts spinning, the weight of the decision settling in. The feeling of betrayal was almost unbearable. The company that had once felt like a second home had just turned its back on him. His colleagues reacted differently. Some gave him sympathetic nods, others barely made eye contact, and a few openly sided with the company, saying he had brought this on himself. Those who had quietly agreed with his stance on Musk were now hesitant to speak up, fearful of being associated with the chaos Alex had caused. It was as if the office had become divided in a way Alex hadn't expected, and suddenly he was on the outside. At home, things weren't much better. Alex had always been the optimistic type, the kind of person who believed that with hard work and passion, success was always just around the corner. But the reality of losing his job was hitting hard. Maya, his girlfriend of 2 years, noticed the change in him immediately. He wasn't the same Alex who would eagerly talk about new projects and future goals. Instead, he was distant, consumed by self-doubt. Financial pressures started to creep into their relationship. Maya had always been understanding of Alex's passion for technology, but this time it felt different. She started to question whether his idealism would ever lead to the stability they needed. Conversations that once flowed easily now felt strained. She encouraged him to look for a new job quickly, but Alex felt uncertain about whether he even wanted to go back to the same kind of corporate life that had just rejected him. The nights were the hardest. Lying awake in bed, Alex would replay the confrontation with his boss in his mind over and over again. Had he been wrong to speak out? Had he jeopardized his career for a cause that, in the end, didn't matter? Doubts clouded his thoughts as he wondered if his defense of Musk's ideas was worth the fallout. Would the sacrifice of his job and the relationships with his colleagues ever be justified? Was there even a future for someone like him? Someone who chose to follow his heart rather than the rules. It wasn't just his career that was at stake anymore. It felt like his entire worldview was crumbling. He had always believed that standing up for what was right would eventually lead to something better. But right now, all he saw was a pile of broken pieces and uncertainty. Then, one day, he received an unexpected call. It was Jordan, his best friend since college, who worked at a rival tech company. Jordan had always been the more pragmatic one, the type who played things safe. Yet, in this moment, he didn't sound like himself. His tone was serious, even cryptic. "Alex, I know things aren't looking good right now," Jordan began. "But I've got something I think you should hear. There's an opportunity I can't talk much about, but it could change everything for you. Just trust me on this. You've got to hear me out." Alex's pulse quickened. What could Jordan possibly mean? He didn't give many details, but he could hear the urgency in his friend's voice. "You'll know what to do, Alex. Just trust me," Jordan insisted. The call ended, and for the first time in days, Alex felt a flicker of hope. Yet, the more he thought about it, the more questions began to form. What was this opportunity? Could it really change his life? Or was it just another fleeting moment in a sea of disappointments? The emotional tension in Alex was mounting. He felt both drawn toward the chance for something new and pulled back by the fear that it could be just another false hope. As the days passed, Alex was left alone with his thoughts, wondering if he had been right all along about fighting for what he believed in, or if he was simply fighting a losing battle. It had been a week since Alex lost his job at TechX Solutions, and each day felt like a blur of disappointment and confusion. His life, once full of promise, now felt like it was spiraling out of control. The silence around him was deafening. His phone rarely rang, and when it did, it was usually a reminder of the bills piling up. He had sent out countless resumes, but nothing came back. The feeling of defeat was beginning to settle deep into his bones. He wasn't sure what was worse, the loss of his job or the loss of his own sense of purpose. Then, on a seemingly ordinary Thursday morning, Alex's phone rang. The number was unfamiliar, but something about it made him hesitate. He was about to let it go to voicemail, convinced it was just another telemarketer or another rejection from a job he had applied to, but for some reason he picked up. "Hello?" Alex answered, his voice still hoarse from days of barely speaking to anyone. "Is this Alex Carter?" The voice on the other end was calm, but authoritative, and it sounded slightly robotic, as though it was coming through an earpiece or an office line. "Yeah, this is Alex. Who's this?" Alex's heart rate quickened. Something about the call didn't feel normal, and his mind immediately started racing with possibilities. "This is Catherine calling on behalf of Elon Musk's team. We've been following your posts and the viral debate you sparked. Elon was impressed with your conviction and your defense of his companies. He'd like to extend an exclusive opportunity for you to work with one of his companies." Alex blinked. The words didn't register at first. His mind went blank, then began to swirl with disbelief. Elon Musk? The same Elon Musk he had defended so passionately just days ago. He could barely believe what he was hearing. Wait, hold on a second. Are you serious? This isn't some kind of joke, right? Alex stammered, his voice shaking a little. He wanted to believe it, but everything about the call seemed too surreal. This is very serious, Alex. We've already discussed your qualifications internally, and we believe you could be a perfect fit for an exciting new project. We'd like to offer you a position with one of Elon's companies. The salary is generous, and the opportunity to work on an innovative project that could shape the future of technology is unprecedented. Alex felt his stomach drop. The words she was saying were like a dream, and yet everything inside him screamed that it couldn't be true. But the more Catherine spoke, the more convincing it became. She detailed the project, a groundbreaking initiative in the electric vehicle industry, one that aimed to revolutionize energy storage and distribution. She explained how they were looking for passionate, driven individuals who could think outside the box and challenge the norms of the industry. Alex was the kind of person they were looking for. The salary offer was more than Alex had ever made, and the promise of working alongside some of the brightest minds in tech was something he could hardly fathom. It felt like the universe had swung the door wide open for him, offering him a chance to make up for everything he had lost. But his mind was still in a haze. This is a lot to take in. How did you even find me? We've been keeping track of the conversation on social media. Your post caught Elon's attention, and after reviewing your background and ideas, we believe you have what it takes to join this project. Alex was stunned. To think that a simple post defending a man he believed in could lead to such an opportunity. It didn't feel real. But there was no denying it. Elon Musk himself had seen something in him. This was the kind of opportunity that didn't come around often, maybe once in a lifetime. Alex sat down on his couch, the phone still pressed to his ear. Catherine gave him a few moments to digest the information before asking him to make a decision. He couldn't believe it, yet everything about the call seemed genuine. As the excitement started to swell within him, so did the sense of conflict. Was he ready to leave everything behind? Was this the path he had always dreamed of, or was it just another way for the universe to pull the rug out from under him? He didn't want to leave his old life, his friends, and his city. Despite how TechX Solutions had fired him, he had spent years there, building relationships, working toward promotions, and establishing a name for himself in the tech world. To walk away from that felt like admitting failure. His thoughts went back to his colleagues, some of whom had shown no support when he needed it most. Was this really the right moment to move on, to chase an idealistic dream in the face of all this uncertainty? But then, as he thought about the opportunity, something clicked. This was what he had been waiting for, wasn't it? The chance to be part of something truly revolutionary, to help build something that could make a real impact on the future. This wasn't just a job offer. It was a chance to stand for the things he believed in, to fight for a future he had always dreamed of. It was what Elon Musk represented: bold ideas, taking risks, and pushing boundaries. The more Alex thought about it, the more excited he became. But as his excitement grew, so did the weight of the decision. He didn't just want to jump at the opportunity without considering the consequences. Was he prepared to leave behind everything he had built at TechX, even if it had been at the expense of his personal convictions? The tension inside Alex only grew stronger. As he prepared to call Catherine back, ready to accept the offer and begin a new chapter, another piece of the puzzle came crashing into his world. Alex had been doing some light research on his old company's recent moves, just out of curiosity and maybe a bit of frustration. He had heard whispers about TechX Solutions, seeking new partnerships with competitors and making moves to acquire more holdings in Musk's competitors, especially in the energy and automotive sectors. But the details had been vague, and he hadn't thought much of it. Until now. He dug deeper. His stomach churned as he discovered something that made his blood run cold. TechX Solutions was in talks with AutoVision, one of Musk's biggest rivals, for a massive acquisition. And there was more. His former employer had been quietly using Alex's viral post to manipulate public perception. They had painted Alex as an unstable, idealistic troublemaker, someone who was unfit to represent their company's image. They had been setting him up as the fall guy to distract from their true motives, capitalizing on Musk's market share while distancing themselves from the controversy he represented. Alex felt betrayed, not just by the company he had once considered home, but by the very system he had trusted. He hadn't just lost his job because of a simple social media post. He had been manipulated. His firing wasn't just about defending Elon Musk. It was part of a much bigger corporate play, one that was using him as a pawn to shift the public narrative. This revelation hit Alex hard. Now, the decision wasn't just about choosing a new career path. It was about confronting the truth, about standing up to the people who had used him for their own benefit. The weight of the decision felt unbearable. Alex sat at his desk, his fingers hovering over the keyboard, but he couldn't bring himself to type. The email draft was open on his screen, an acceptance letter to work with Elon Musk's team. A golden opportunity he had once dreamed about. He could feel the excitement, the promise of a fresh start, the chance to work on something bigger than himself. But then, as his fingers wavered, the anger and confusion crept back. His mind replayed the conversation with Catherine from Musk's team, the excitement he had felt, and the crushing realization that his old company, TechX Solutions, had been using him as a pawn. They had manipulated him, painted him as a liability to protect their own interests in a deal with Musk's rivals. Alex had been fighting for what he thought was right, and in return, he had been betrayed. The very company he had dedicated himself to had been using him, turning his passion for technology and innovation into a weapon for their own gain. The emotional struggle inside him grew more intense by the minute. Every part of his being screamed for justice, for something more than just running away to a new opportunity. But then, there was that nagging voice telling him that the future Elon Musk had offered was the fresh start he needed to escape the mess his life had become. The pressure of choosing was suffocating. Alex leaned back in his chair, feeling the tension in his chest as if the world was closing in on him. He couldn't shake the feeling that there was something he had to do, something more than just accepting a job offer and leaving it all behind. The truth about his old company's betrayal gnawed at him. Was he really willing to walk away from everything he had built just to get a piece of the pie, no matter how shiny it looked? The phone buzzed on his desk, and his heart skipped when he saw Maya's name on the screen. He had been avoiding her calls for days. Their relationship had been strained ever since his firing, and the weight of his personal life crumbling made it hard for him to even talk about it. But now, in this moment, Maya was his anchor, someone who knew him better than anyone else. "Hey," he said, answering the call. His voice was hoarse, tired. "Alex?" Maya's voice sounded warm but tinged with concern. "I know things have been rough lately, but I need to talk to you. You've been avoiding me." "I'm sorry," Alex muttered. "I've just been trying to figure everything out. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore, Maya. I thought I had everything planned, but now, I don't know who I am or what I'm supposed to be fighting for." There was a long pause on the other end of the line. Maya understood the gravity of his situation more than anyone. She knew how hard Alex had worked to get where he was and how much this job loss had affected him. But she also knew the core of who Alex was, the same person who had fought so hard for what he believed in, the same person who had stood up for Musk, not because of the money, but because of the vision. "Alex," Maya said softly, "I get it. I know you're hurt. I know you feel betrayed, but you're still the person I fell in love with, the person who believed in something bigger than himself. You defended Musk not because of the paycheck, but because you believed in the future he was trying to create. That's what's still in you. You still have that power. Alex felt his throat tighten as the emotions surged inside him. He had forgotten what it felt like to believe in something, to be driven by purpose. For so long, the corporate world had dulled his sense of self, making him feel like a cog in a machine that only cared about the bottom line. "I don't know if I can keep doing this," he whispered, staring at the screen. "I don't know if I can go back to that world." "Maybe you don't have to," Maya replied. "But you can't run away from what's right, Alex. You can't just accept the opportunity and pretend nothing happened. You have to stand up to the truth about your old company, about what they did to you. Don't let them win like this. If you really want to move forward, you have to do it with integrity." Her words pierced through him. Integrity. That was what had started this whole journey for him. He hadn't defended Musk just for the chance of a job or fame. He had done it because he believed in the truth, in the idea that technology could change the world for the better. That was what had driven him to take a stand, not money, not power, not even the dream job. Alex knew the decision he had to make wasn't simple. There were people in his life, especially his family, who didn't understand the risks he had taken. His father, in particular, had always preached caution, encouraging Alex to take the safer, more predictable route. The constant tension between personal values and external pressures weighed on him heavily. "You're throwing away a good career, Alex," his father had told him the day he got fired. "You should be looking for another job in a stable company. You're lucky to have a degree from a place like TechX. Don't throw that away for some pipe dream." But Alex couldn't shake the nagging feeling that if he just took another safe job, if he just conformed to the system, he would lose himself completely. The company that had once been his career ladder was now the enemy. The thought of returning to that world felt suffocating. His mother, ever the optimist, had tried to encourage him to be patient, to wait for the right opportunity. But she too couldn't understand why Alex felt so strongly about going against the system. "It's just business," she would say. "People make decisions based on money, not ideals. You have to play the game." The world outside seemed to want Alex to give up on the dream he had, to let go of his ideals and just survive. But the vision he once had, the fight that had led him to defend Musk, was still alive in him. Could he really just walk away and let everything he believed in crumble? In the quiet of his apartment, the decision seemed clear. But just as Alex was about to sit down and write an email accepting Musk's offer, something shifted. His mind raced back to the phone call with Catherine. The opportunity with Musk was everything he had ever wanted, but there was something bigger at play. TechX wasn't just a company that had fired him. They were complicit in corporate greed, using Alex as a tool to further their own agenda. The moment of truth came when Alex realized he could no longer sit back and let the corrupt system win. He couldn't just take the job and pretend everything was fine. He had to speak out. With resolve, Alex opened a new document on his computer. His fingers flew over the keys as he began writing an exposé about TechX Solutions, revealing the depths of their betrayal and the corporate manipulations they had used to get ahead. He didn't hold back. He detailed how they had used his viral post to control the public narrative, how they had schemed with AutoVision to acquire Musk's holdings, and how they had placed him in the middle of it all without his knowledge. He knew this would burn his bridges with TechX forever. It would cost him whatever remnants of a professional relationship he had left with them. But Alex also knew this was the only way to stand up for what he believed in, the truth. As he finished the exposé, he felt a sense of peace settle over him. He wasn't just taking a job with Musk. He was making a stand. He was fighting for integrity. The decision had been made. Now it was time to make it count. After much deliberation, Alex decides to go public with the truth about his former company's corrupt dealings. He writes a comprehensive exposé detailing the real reasons behind his firing, the corporate manipulation surrounding Elon Musk's companies, and the underhanded tactics his employer used to sabotage Musk's influence. Alex's words are bold, heartfelt, and filled with the urgency of the moment, exposing the company's shady motives and their attempt to smear Musk for their own gain. The expose goes viral almost instantly. Thousands of people across social media platforms share, comment, and spread the story. The public's response is swift and intense. People are outraged at the hypocrisy and greed of the company. The media picks up the story, with analysts and journalists diving deep into the revelations, condemning the corporate world's exploitative behavior. As the expose gains traction, the consequences for Alex's former employer are immediate. The company's stock price plummets, investors pull their funding, and public trust in the brand evaporates overnight. Facing mounting pressure, the executives are forced to retract their previous decisions and issue a public apology for their actions. In the midst of the chaos, something completely unexpected happens. Elon Musk himself tweets about Alex's bravery, praising his integrity and commitment to truth. Musk's tweet is simple but powerful. Courage is rare. Alex Carter stood up for what was right, and that's the kind of mindset we need in the world. Proud of you, Alex. The tweet sparks an even bigger wave of support for Alex, who is now seen as a hero by many. Musk's endorsement of Alex's actions catapults him into the public eye, and in a matter of hours, Alex becomes a symbol of courage in the corporate world, showing that standing up for what's right can lead to real change. As if on cue, job offers flood in from top tech companies, eager to bring someone with Alex's conviction and skills into their fold. His name is now recognized in the industry, and he's seen as a force for integrity in a business world too often defined by profit over principle. Despite all the job offers, Alex can't help but feel a strong pull toward Musk and his vision. After weighing his options, he makes the decision to accept Elon Musk's offer to join one of his companies. The salary is high, the project is groundbreaking, and the chance to make a real impact is unparalleled. Alex knows this is the opportunity he had been waiting for, one that aligns with both his professional aspirations and his personal values. The decision to join Musk's team marks a turning point in Alex's life. It's not just about landing a new job, it's about personal redemption. Alex reflects on how far he's come. From a mid-level employee in a company that didn't appreciate him to a man who stood up for his beliefs and was rewarded for it in ways he couldn't have imagined. His journey from self-doubt to confidence is complete, and he knows he is on the right path. The emotional toll of his past actions starts to fade. Alex feels a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that he has chosen the road less traveled, the one that required courage and integrity. He no longer regrets defending Elon Musk, despite the initial cost of losing his job. The sacrifices he made have led him to a place where he can truly thrive. His relationship with Maya also improves. After everything they've been through, Maya sees the transformation in Alex. She recognizes his growth, and they reconnect on a deeper level. She's proud of his decision to stand by his principles, and their bond strengthens as they both embrace a future filled with possibilities. Alex is no longer the unsure man he once was. He has rediscovered his inner strength, and Maya is there to support him every step of the way. The story closes with Alex at his new job, feeling truly fulfilled in ways he never expected. He's no longer defined by his past mistakes or the struggles of his former job. Instead, he has become part of something bigger, working alongside Elon Musk and a team of visionaries focused on shaping the future of technology. Every day is a new challenge, a new opportunity to make a real difference. Alex looks back on his journey with a sense of peace. The hardest decision of his life, the one that cost him everything, ultimately led him to the greatest reward. He realizes that sometimes the sacrifices and difficult choices are necessary to achieve true growth and fulfillment. He is no longer afraid of the future. Instead, he faces it with confidence and excitement, knowing that standing by your values is the key to a life well lived.